IDs and classes, what are they and how do we use them? Well, I'm going to show you right now how we use IDs and classes and what they are about. Go ahead and create a new file in your HTML folder called id_class.html. In all honesty, you could name it whatever you want, but this makes sense because it correlates to the lecture name. So IDs and classes, obviously, let's use that basic structure so we got some HTML to work with. I'm going to change that title to IDs ampersand, and that is the special character, ampersand, AMP, semicolon, IDs and classes. In here, I'm going to add a couple paragraph tags, like so, and then I'm going to add some text. This paragraph has the ID of paragraph -1, and this paragraph has the class of fancy pants, fancy-pants. Okay, so let me explain something here. These paragraphs have no IDs and classes yet. An ID and a class, they are attributes added to a tag, and they, as you know, attributes give extra information and meaning to a specific tag. And IDs and classes work in the way that the ID is a unique identifier of an element, and a class is a global identifier of an element. Now, that might sound like total mumbo jumbo to you, so I'm going to go ahead and add an ID and add a class to these so you can see what they look like first. So an ID just looks like this. Whoops, ID, not IF. And the ID of this one will be paragraph -1. Now, you can name ID and classes whatever you want. This could literally be just mumbo jumbo. It could be this, that counts, or it could be this. But you can't actually, with IDs, you can only have one ID. IDs are unique identifiers of an element. So if I have the paragraph 1 ID for this tag, I can't use it multiple times. I cannot use it any more than once because it's a unique identifier. It's kind of like your personal ID or your passport. There's only one, and there's only one that is valid. So IDs work that way. And a class is a little bit different. It looks like so, and I'm going to name it, in this case, Fancy Pants. Again, you can name it whatever you want, so long as it's valid and you're not using special characters and you're using numbers and letters, or just letters. But with a class, the difference is you can have multiple instances of the same class. So I can have something like this. That makes sense to HTML because classes are global identifiers and you can use them multiple times throughout the site and throughout the page, whereas an ID only happens once. Now, this might not make any sense to you yet because there is no true, you're not using it in practice to see what the point of it is. Well, once we get into CSS, IDs and classes will make a lot more sense to you because in CSS, you can select an element, and instead of saying select the paragraph tags and make them the color red, because maybe you don't want all your paragraph tags to be the color red, but maybe you want your paragraph tags that have the class of Fancy Pants to be red. So therefore, the paragraphs that have the class of Fancy Pants will turn red, and the other paragraphs will not. Or if you wanted to select the paragraph with the ID of paragraph -1 and make it bold and italic, it would only do it to paragraph with the ID of paragraph -1. And so right now, this doesn't look like anything in the browser at all. These are just two paragraphs. There is simply nothing happening. It just looks on the front end like two paragraph tags. But they have a unique identifier on this one and a class on this one. And nothing's going to happen in your HTML yet until you start using CSS. But that is what an ID looks like. That is what a class looks like. Always know that you can only use an ID once because it is a unique identifier to that specific element. And a class is global and can be added multiple times throughout your site and your page. Those are IDs and classes.